Are we live?
I think we're live. It says everyone can see and hear us, so.
I will tell you that was the longest minute of my life. It was like, wow, we are live. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning.
And thank you for joining us today. Hello, Shelley, Corey, and Mr. Whitman.
Hello.
We're all very impressed with Corey being on the West Coast and looking so much better than I'm looking right now.
I don't know about that, but happy to be here.
So we'll give it another 30 seconds to let the audience pop in, but we do want to start on time. So once again, thank you for joining us. Good morning, everybody. Today's session is all about video, how to get started, why not to be afraid. And we're going to give you some really valuable tips. We have three outstanding individuals on today's panel who will be introducing themselves shortly. Once again, give it another 20, 30 seconds. We'll hop right into it. I think we all look good. Lighting's good. Internet's good.
We look great.
Hey, we're on video. When we're doing a video session, we better look good.
I know, right?
And I'm loving that painting behind you, Tyler. Is there a quick story about that?
Well, I actually, there we go. It's one of my favorite pieces, but I got my place in the city fully furnished, and this is one of the things it came with, but I do love it.
Wow.
They actually have some awesome art in here.
Wow.
I got pretty lucky.
Awesome. Let's get started. Yeah. Well, there we go. Sorry, everybody. I'm in a hotel in Miami, and I said there might be some interruptions. So let's get started, though. No further ado. Let's everybody have a 20-second introduction. We'll start with Miss Shelley Place.
Yeah, so I am Shelley Place. I'm a New York City real estate agent. I've been doing real estate for about 6 years. I actually was hired by Tyler. Tyler was my first manager ever. So it's really, really cool to be doing this live stream together. And I've been doing video for about 3 years, and I've worked with Corey and his team at Hallie Lou.
Awesome. Tyler Whitman.
Hello, I am Tyler Whitman, also a real estate agent in New York City, and mostly known for my TV future daytime talk show and 2025 Dancing with the Stars champion. That's what I think most people think of when they think of me. So hi, good to be here.
You've just added a lot to the universe. I see.
Well, listen, I've been planting that seed for a while. I just want to make sure everybody knows what the goal is.
Thank you, Tyler. Corey Shepard from the West Coast. So we really appreciate you getting up bright and early. So who are you?
Yeah, my name's Corey Shepard. I'm with Hallie Lou. I've been working with Tyler for the last, I don't know, Tyler, 6, 7 years, it feels like.
Yeah. I am who I am because of you.
That's very sweet. And ditto. I own and operate, along with a couple of my business partners, Hallie Lou Creative, or a small boutique agency in New York City that stumbled into something cool with real estate. So we're going to talk about that today.
Awesome. I'm Eric Barron. I am the Chief Revenue Officer at Triplement, a technology and data-driven brokerage based here in New York. I've been coaching and training real estate agents for the past 20 years. And I am a big believer in video. So that's why I'm moderating this fantastic panel today. And it's really interesting. We've got a very diverse take on this. Tyler has been doing video for a long time, and I would say it comes very naturally to you. And you're great on camera. I remember Shelley doing her first video, and she was like, I'm never doing video, ever. So that was great to see where you started to where you've come today. And we have someone that's, a video production expert and runs his firm. So we have three very distinct takes, and I think we'll be able to give you a lot of great information and takeaways. So thank everyone. I'm thanking everyone for joining us. And we're going to hop right into it. First question is, why should I even care about video? Tyler, why should I even care about video?
So people, I always liken it to like when you send a text message, your tone is assumed. People don't actually know who you are. You're getting to know somebody. If you're talking about like dating apps, I can't tell you how many times I would get on dating apps and be so excited about meeting somebody and then meet them and realize that they were only good over text. I'm like, you're only funny and charismatic when you have time to think about it. Just basically the written person is not as authentic as the live person, as the human person. And that's what people ultimately connect to. I didn't continue dating these people that sucked in person, but were awesome over text. And video gives you the opportunity to show the human side of this business and the human side of any business. But I mean, real estate is such a human business. People want to connect with the person that they're working with. And I have a very low response rate to sending out cold emails and a very warm and high response rate to posting videos and sharing videos, because people feel like they get a sense of actually knowing you. And if you're not doing video, even if people say all these things, I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but like, I'm bad on video, I'm so embarrassed to be on video. I'm like, do that. People actually think that's really endearing, but be on video.
Well, actually, it's so funny. One of the points there was really about the bottom line. I'm making this up. If your open rate's going to go from 2% to 18%, enough said.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's the best way for really someone to be able to touch and feel who you are. So on point. Shelley, did you care about video at the beginning? What got you over that hump, and why should everyone listening really care about embracing video?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little skeptical at first that it would be for me. But I'm overall just so glad that I took the plunge and kind of got over that fear. I think that video is a great way to boost your business. It gets you out there more. It ultimately helps you close more deals. But I also think that a huge advantage to video is like the quality of the business you attract. As agents, we talk a lot about like who our clients are, who our ideal clients are, where do we find them? And I'm a big believer that the energy you put out attracts a certain kind of person into your life. Video is very personal, or at least a lot more personal than, sending emails back and forth. So it's a really good way to get your personality across, and you might end up with clients who you vibe a lot better with as a result. So it's not just like getting more clients, it's like who you want to work with, right? So when people decide to contact you, whether it be for a home search or to sell your place, they kind of already have an idea of like what you're all about. And I think that that's really, really good and goes a long way for like forming productive relationships too.
Love that. Love that. Corey, anything you want to add? Why, obviously you've seen a diverse, you've done a lot of video even outside of real estate. So why is video so important?
Yeah, I mean, I think the true answer to that is it's almost like a utility now, in that if I need to know how to do anything, the first thing I do is go to YouTube because someone's already done a video about it. If someone wants to buy a home, they're going to find an agent, and the first thing they're probably going to do is see if there's any videos or any information on the internet about them. So you might as well have something up there and put your best foot forward. But yeah.
Okay, so it's obvious video is important. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening and watching that are like, never, I will never go on camera, for many reasons, right? I don't look right. I don't sound right. It's overwhelming. Where do I start? So that initial fear, right, of anything, like even before you walk on stage, that initial fear, how did you overcome it? How does it evolve? How do we overcome that initial fear of being on camera? Let's start with Shelley. Because I do remember your initial fear.
Yeah, I can really speak to this question because this is like something I struggled a lot with. But the first time I ever shot with Corey and Hallie Lou, I was so nervous. I seriously couldn't even get like 2 sentences in without fumbling my words. I think I was pretty sure we took like 15 takes on one of those videos. It was like deer in the headlights. To their credit, everyone in the studio was really patient with me, and like through the magic of editing, everything actually came out really, really great. But I mean, I would say like it's really just about kind of taking the plunge. I think that you can start small and do things that you're comfortable with at first, but like there has to be like a little bit of a balance between like making sure that you're comfortable enough to actually do the thing you said you're going to do, but also just like every day, just kind of keeping in mind that done is better than perfect. And when you start to like see the results of your videos and see them, well, A, hopefully come out good, but B, like people talk about them and see how like your business is growing from them, it becomes a lot easier.
What I heard you also say was that, the fifth, now obviously shooting with Hallelujah is a professional series, right? Versus just holding up your phone. And we'll talk more about both sides of that because there's no right or wrong here. But it sounds like you got a lot of support and encouragement from the Hallelujah team. And I know, Corey, you feel kind of strongly about how to help overcome your fears with some additional support versus just locking yourself in your room and shooting a video on your iPhone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, being on camera is super vulnerable for anyone that's done it before. I feel uncomfortable being on camera. My joke is like, there's a reason I'm behind the camera. But Shelly, I mean, like, so it was so interesting to hear your perspective is, as a person who was in the room, I didn't get any of that. Like, you seemed fine and fumbling over words is normal, but I just didn't see like the deer in the headlights look. So maybe that was like an internal feeling. But you did great. And I think the one thing I would say is, even if you're just starting out with like an iPhone, get someone in the room with you that you really trust that can hold the space for you and like say, hey, you know what, that didn't really sound like the person that I know you are. Maybe try it again, or like just someone to kind of help guide you and hold the camera if they're kind enough. That's always nice as well for framing.
Right.
But,
And this is the second time I shot, I felt so much more comfortable. So I think a key thing is just to keep doing it too. And the more you do it, the more you're going to get.
Yeah, Corey makes a very key point though, right, Corey? Like we've talked about even off camera here, that we're our own worst enemy, right? What we think is awful, the other person in the room will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that was great. So like you said, getting out of your own head, getting out of your own space. So getting that second opinion, because we're our own worst enemy, right? With so many things.
And I think the bottom line is, at least me personally, is like, it's really hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable to criticism. And that's what I think the scariest part about putting videos out is like, you're kind of opening yourself up. So, but Tyler can speak more to that. He's a really
that's
great
interesting, right?
example of that.
I was about, Tyler, everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're a natural, this is easy for you. But there's no way it was easy from you from day one, right? I don't want people to think about, oh, it's easy for Tyler, because it wasn't easy for you from the outset.
Yeah, that's actually kind of like one of my pet peeves is when I talk about like the growth of my business. People are like, oh, of course your business is growing. You're on TV. I'm like, no, I'm on TV because of all the work that I've been doing to get to the place. And like I was not on TV when I started taking the video plunge, that it was years later. When I started doing it, definitely I'm somebody who likes attention, so I didn't have as much fear around it. One of the things that I can tell you that made it a lot easier, and this is definitely a plug for Hallelujah and why so many of my friends use them now, is because they create such a safe space. And I feel like a lot of people, you're nervous on TV, or on camera. And so you get your friend to help you make a video. And there's an actual talent on being on the other side of the screen. Like, Nathan and Corey are playful with us. They bounce off of us. They're laughing way too hard at our jokes. And, but there's something to be said for that, because when they laugh really hard at my jokes, it does creates an energy inside of you, and it starts to bring out another side of your performance. And I really didn't realize how important that was, honestly, until I got $1 million listing, because they don't coach us on that show. It's truly reality TV. The cameras go up and the producers hide in a closet, and they're basically like, have fun, give us something good, and it's hard for me because I get in my head, I start overthinking things. And the space that Nathan and Corey create is very playful. They're playing into the energy. When I'm fumbling over words, if you have the wrong person in the room, somebody who's being critical, somebody who's like, I don't think you're gonna like this, somebody, no matter what, even when you're messing up, you need to be in a room full of people who are like, that's fine, keep going, keep doing it. It just like there's like an actual talent behind, not just filming and editing, but like creating an energy in a space. And I see them do it so much. Now we've created so many commercials, and I brought in clients and friends of mine who are not comfortable on camera, and I see what their energy is. And it's really about the people in the room. It also, now between Whitman Wisdom and the commercials, this is excluding $1 Million Listing, but just like the content that we've created, I think we're coming up on like 140 videos now.
I think so. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a ton of videos.
Yeah.
Back at season like 1 and 2 of Whitman Wisdom, it's a completely different, it was a slow change, right? So I don't think I noticed it as much, but when I go back and watch the old stuff, I'm like, no, it's like anything. You practice, you get better, you learn things. There's also season 3 was what I really felt like I hit my stride. But then I remember watching season 3 and being so proud of it. And then season 4 and 5, I took it too far. You know what I mean? It was like, I was like, oh, let me try this, this, and this. And and then I had to start pulling it back. I was like, no, that's not, it felt disingenuous. It felt like I was being too much in those. And so, all of it is like a learning process. And, it's good to be critical of yourself in a way that you're learning and trying new things, but also finding like, what is that? Because it is your brand. You're putting your brand out there. Like, what is that special?
Which actually, that's great, because we're actually about to, that's a great transition, that word brand. Because so everybody listening is like, okay, I'm in, I'm going to do video. So before I get started, what question should I be asking myself, right? Because it's like what you say, how do I say it? But preparation is key, and really being honest with yourself and asking yourself the right questions before just shooting video. So, Corey, I know you have a strong opinion on this. So what should people that haven't done video be asking themselves before starting?
Yeah, so I think I ask a lot of people this. I think we might have asked Tyler this, like, but if you were a cocktail, what kind of cocktail would you be? Or,
Hold on, what was his answer to that one?
I can't recall. Maybe I think Tyler was like a martini at the time. I mean, Tyler's, maybe but like the basic, like the just being like, what do you want people to see, think, or feel when they see you? And I think that a lot of times people will like say, oh, I know I need to do video, but I don't know what I want to do. And usually what I'll say is like, figure out, what do you want to say? Do you want to start with something where, these videos can live on the internet for a long time, and it's kind of like a calling card that you can send to people? Where's the content going to be living is also really important, because you might want to like put all of your marketing into Facebook or all of your marketing into Instagram, or, whatever it might be. But I would say, what do you want your brand to look like, and who are you trying to talk to?
So can you give me an example? You said see, think, and feel. Give me an example, just like.
Oh yeah. Are you bright and colorful? Do you wear polka dot dresses with like big bows, or are you dapper with a suit? Like, are you a Suntory whiskey kind of person? Are you fun and want to be around your children and incorporate that into your video? Do you want to talk about being a mom and selling houses? Like, who are you as a person? And then kind of crafting a narrative around that. I have one person who's talking about video right now. They're like, I really love fitness, and I really love data analytics for real estate. I was like, well, that seems like a numbers play. Let's have you do a work. Okay, your workout for the day is this, and then we're gonna do a market update. Like, boom, done. So there's ways to kind of, everyone is interesting, and everyone can be an artist if they kind of dig into what they're passionate about. And I find it really attractive when people are really into one thing. It could be anything, but if they're really into that thing, I'm like, I want to talk to you. So lean into your weirdness and oddness.
Well, it's not even weirdness and oddness, right? It makes total sense. I mean, it's so easy to bring data analytics into fitness, right? If you're wearing an Apple Watch, everyone's like, oh my God, I did a amount of steps, and here's my heart rate. I mean, it's been brought into fitness, so you could totally tie the two together. It's actually quite natural.
Yeah, I mean, even Charlie, I think of, there was one gentleman, Charlie Panoff, who brought his 2 bulldogs into the studio, and he's like, I want to do something with my dogs. And in Hollywood, they're like, don't ever work with kids or animals. But we did it, like, we figured it out, it was fun. Like, that was important to him. So it's
Tyler,
whatever
before getting started. Sorry, there's a little delay there on video. Corey did, oh, you're back, good. Tyler, before getting started, what do you want people to think about before they get started? What can we add on to what Corey just said?
Just being truly, truly authentic. When I don't know what I said at the time, but when he just said, what kind of cocktail would you be? I was like, Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
Sweet and fun and a little ridiculous, but simple.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like the simplicity is a big part of my brand. It's like, I want people to have fun. I don't want to overthink things. I think a detriment of real estate, or people who are just like, I have to prove myself. I have to be this. I have to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I'm the anti that. My team is the anti that. We don't participate in rankings. We don't make our numbers public, because that's not who we are. That's not what I care about. It's not an ego thing. It's like being as human and fun and relatable as possible. And for a long time I was like, let me start putting all sorts of things out there, that I realized was relating more to how do I compete within the agent community, and then realize like what I need to put out in video is like, how do I connect with my clients? And I know Ashton asked, like, how do you build rapport with clients? It's like by being as authentic and relatable as possible, and so and I think that's one of the important things in video, because I watch other real estate agents' videos constantly. And I think it's very endearing when I am watching somebody who's very clearly nervous on camera, right? And I think, but I'm not making fun of them. My initial thought is like, good on you, like taking some risks, getting out there. Clearly this is not your comfort zone, and like you're doing it anyway. And like that's the kind of person I want to do business with regardless, right? And I think about the same thing when I get cold calls now. Like there's part of me that's like, of course I roll my eyes at first, and then I'm like, no, I want to, if I'm going to do something like this, I want to do it with somebody who's serious about making a living, and and not so casual about their business. And so, think about it from that perspective. Also, there's several people at Triple Mint that I just watch them like, doing like their Instagram stories or Facebook lives or whatever it is at these listings. And I can tell they're a little nervous. And those are the only people at Triple Mint during the pandemic that I know who they are, because we hired a ton of people during the pandemic and we're not in the office as much, and I haven't gotten to meet people. The only people I know who they are the people who are doing videos. Everybody else is just a name on a screen at most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're doing video, at least I know who you are.
It's funny you say about building rapport. It goes back to, I think, what Shelley said earlier. You shouldn't have to really, if you're being authentic, you will, you put out what you attract. That's what you said earlier, right? So you should, how do you build rapport? Being authentic, right? And whether someone likes you or not, that's who you will attract. We get the right to choose who we want to be in business with, no matter what you're doing in life, whether you're an accountant or whether you're a real estate salesperson. So, and we know clients could be challenging. So why not work with people that, number one, appreciate you and you appreciate them? So that's how you build rapport. Thank you for that. Shelley, anything else you want to add, like before you got started, what you know now, what you wish you knew now about before getting started, that you can share?
Well, I would say, just to your question about, what kind of questions to ask yourself, I think we've already kind of touched on this, but just understanding what your goals are for each video or series of videos you do is really important. I have my videos that I do just like kind of with like professional partners. Like I'll interview a mortgage banker or an attorney and I'll put it up on LinkedIn. And that's just kind of like to, keep myself active, keep myself comfortable with video, but also to get my name out there while giving my clients hopefully some good tips on real estate. But then I have my professional videos too that I do with Hallie Lou. I felt like it was really important to define what those goals were going to be, because they're a much bigger commitment, both financially, time-wise. And those I kind of use as like a frequently asked questions portion of my site. So I had a completely different, I guess, mindset going into them. And I would just really think about, for each video, where are you going to post them? How does the content really match up with where you're going to post them? And what do you ultimately want to come from the videos too?
So let's stay right there, because that kind of goes into our next topic, content. What? Business, personal, 30 seconds, 5 minutes. I mean, there's a lot there to cover. So where do I start? What do I talk about? What's off limits? What's not? Is it anything and everything, right? Is there a method to the badness? So let's just open it up to types of content, business versus personal, and anything else you want to share with the audience. So you want to stay there real quick about types of content, Shelley, and put your little finishing thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I was saying, the videos that I have with Holly Lou, those are videos that I feel like I can reuse again and again, right? So, they live on my website, they live on my agent page. The content is stuff that will is kind of evergreen. Like it'll never, it'll never be irrelevant because it's really basic information that I have conversations with every buyer and seller about. So things like the difference between co-op and condo, like how much do you need to put down to buy a place, closing costs, like stuff like that I get questions about all the time.
Hold on one sec. So when someone says, "Oh my God, that's so basic," everyone does that. Mm-hmm. Like, what's your answer to that, to the person that says, "Oh my God, I can't do basic videos"? I mean, Corey's laughing. We'll go, but what? No, say that. Oh my God, there's a million condo versus co-op. We don't need another one. Is that true?
Yeah, that's a great question. Go for it, Shelley.
I mean, the reason they're basic is because everyone needs to know this stuff, right? So if you can package it up nicely in a way, if you can package up information that you're already giving people nicely in like a more engaging way that also gets your personality across and looks beautiful and clean because Corey and the Holly Lou team like make it look amazing, why not do that?
Corey, you were laughing when I said that. Why were you laughing?
Oh, I mean, well, because everything you just said is like, it's totally like, why should I need to do that? And like the bottom line is it's like really easy to give pushback, but it's almost like now agents kind of need like their own library to set, like their proprietary library to send things to their clients in their own voice. Like, I think, yeah, sure, I could listen to someone else talk about co-ops versus condos, and but maybe I want to hear Shelley's perspective. Like maybe I want to hear Tyler's perspective. Like maybe they're different. You may have an opinion about it. One thing, and so it's about your voice, and it's about quantity, like top of mind. Have it out there. You can repost it. It's like if it's evergreen, it's not going anywhere. So why not have it? Unless you want to push people to other agents' videos, then by all means, like go ahead.
And Tyler, you've done a whole series of in one of your series, all the basic questions, correct?
Yeah, that was how I got started. I eventually ran out of things to talk about.
We're getting there too.
It was like the first 3 or 4 seasons of that. And I learned a really important lesson through all of it, which is something that I tell agents that ask me about video all the time, which is that nobody actually watches the entire video. Most people watch the first 10 seconds. And I'll never forget this one simple thing kind of like changed my entire mindset around creating video, which I was at a bar. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And a stranger came up to me and he was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "I'm in marketing and somebody did a presentation on you today because we're talking about SME marketing, which is subject matter expert." And he was like, "And you do it so perfectly," which is this idea that whatever anybody's marketing is that nobody's actually really absorbing the information that you're talking about. And all you're actually doing is like, I'm making it known that I'm a real estate expert and I'm just putting out all this real estate content. And a lot of it is very repetitive and simple, but most people aren't retaining that. They're not saying like, "Oh, thank God, I really need to know that about co-ops or board packages or making an offer or winning a bidding war." Yeah. All you're really doing is creating like this chemical reaction of Tyler real estate, or Shelley real estate, or whoever you are real estate, or whatever it is that you do. We actually made an entire video on this exact thing last season on Wisdom, which is just that, you are basically brainwashing people to think about your name and your industry whenever you're putting out these videos. Nobody's going to remember what you actually talked about. That said, I've also learned another lesson recently, and I actually have to give a shout out to my $1 Million Listing co-star, Kirsten Jordan, who also makes her videos with Holly Lou, and she's a very dear friend of mine, so I know she won't mind me saying this. I watch her videos, not only because I'm a fan of hers, I admire her, but because something that she does that I've started doing, and I've noticed a difference in my engagement, is she uses a story, like a real life story, to get the point across, or a personal story. But instead of saying like, "Here's what you need to know about co-ops," it's a story about somebody who dealt with a co-op and the things they ran into, and she puts a lot of like story behind it instead of just spouting information. I think a story just does so much better. I think people relate to stories. I use that in my negotiations all the time. I don't know why I wasn't using it in my videos, but when I'm negotiating with my own clients, because we always say we're negotiating with the other person, we're actually we only have control over our own clients, right? And when I'm trying to connect with my clients, I'm telling them about stories about last time I did this. You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, I know you don't want to pay this price, but I was just out with a buyer who is still upset about the place we didn't get because they didn't pay this price, or whatever it is. It's just like people connect more to a story than they are if you just spouting information. Like, that's so annoying. It gets so old so fast. So I think focus less on content or freaking out about content. Just tell good stories, things that you've run into, moments that you went out and like dealt with. That's easily connectable.
Can I tell you, if no one remembers anything else but that, I love you for saying that. I really, really do. Because you could sit there and give the 3 bullet points, the differences between condos and co-ops or whatever that may be, but stories are memorable, right? They're engaging, and they increase your credibility, right? I've been there, done that. And so people go, oh, me too, right? They can totally relate. So, I mean, the art of storytelling today is such a lost art, and once again, it's not even something you need to memorize in a video. Oh my God, what do I say? You're just rehashing a story that you've already been through. So it's so natural. It might even make you shooting a video easier.
Totally. You could do an entire season, if you're a New York City real estate agent, you could do an entire season about co-op stories. Shelly, I'm sure you probably get emails from your buyers all the time saying, why didn't you show me this? And it's like, because you're not qualified and you can't see that on paper because the co-ops are very strange, or, it doesn't meet your needs. Your parents can't buy with you. You're not gonna be able to rent it out, whatever it is. It's so much more interesting to talk about the real life application.
Awesome point. Let's talk. It's come up a couple of times today in the discussion about production, right? I can't afford it. Where do I start? Can I use my iPhone? Do I need to sit in the studio with the wonderful people at Hallelujah? Let's talk about professional quality costs, do-it-yourself tips. Corey, let's start with you, right? You own a production firm. It's not for everybody, right? There's an affordability aspect to it. I would hope everyone aspires to get into the studio, because there's a clear benefit, right, to producing high quality content. But what's your opinion on all this?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, everyone has the ability to be a cinematographer in their pocket, right? iPhones are like the best thing ever for video content. I have a one sheet that I'm going to send, that I'll send to y'all, that you can make available for this, that are just like some tips and tricks for filming with your iPhone, framing, lighting, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing I would say is I hear a lot in real estate, like, who's your team? Like, or are you building your team? Like, and I would even argue, Tyler, that there's something to be said for adding a video person to your team. Like, everyone has a nephew or a kid, or maybe knows someone that's interested in camera work. Like, bring them in. Like, hey, like, if you're willing to help me with this, like, I want to experiment. If you're willing to get better at your craft, I'm trying to do this thing. Just asking friends. You can make something really cool for no money. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, I've seen kids now with like 360 cameras walking around, like, but basically, like, just start doing it. Just start making the thing. You will get better at it. And, then, you can, if you want to do something bigger, you can. But there's no harm in starting with your iPhone,
Give people a 30-second look. It's like, okay, I aspire to do a day with Hallelujah. Just give people a 30-second look into what that is. So people know what an iPhone is, right? They know they could put an iPhone on a pod, boom, and a ring light and all that good stuff. So most people are aware with the basic DIY stuff.
Sure, yeah. So
a 30-second look into high quality production.
Yeah, so that's a tough question. Studio settings are obviously wonderful because there's lights, there's really nice cameras, there's obviously like a director, a sound person. So there's one person designated for each job that you would normally do DIY. There's a designated sound person, there's a hair and makeup person. There's lights, there's teleprompters sometimes. And those, we'll shoot 12 episodes of a show in one day. It's about,
In
takes
one
anywhere from
day.
yeah. So it's anywhere from 4 to 8 hours of filming. So I mean, Shelly, it's it can be grueling. It's a long day.
It's
But
fun,
yeah,
but it's tiring.
it's tiring. Yeah, it's a lot. But I mean, but do you feel like batching your content, and Tyler, to speak to you, do you guys feel like batching those content days has made your lives a little bit easier in terms of, oh, I know I have this video coming?
Yeah,
And then,
totally. I mean, ultimately, it's a lot of work in a way, but once you're done, you have something that you're really proud of, and it's 100% worth it. And at the end of the day, it's like one business day out of your, week,
yeah,
and you have all of this content that you can post for months after. So
yeah.
it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, I would say the largest, the big spend, I would imagine that what being in a studio provides you is really a director. I think that's super important. I think maybe Tyler can speak more to that, but I think that having someone that kind of gets what the humor you're trying to go for, and someone that's going to listen very intently and say, you said this instead of this, let's go back again, so that you're not sitting there at the editing table being like, oh crap, like, it's almost like you have someone there watching you, making sure you get it all. I mean, and we can be exacting. So if we really need you to do something like multiple times, like do it again, say it like this, or do it again, try it this way. So I think that's when you're scaling up in terms of price, you're paying for someone's wisdom that they've had over the years doing this thing over and over and over again. So there's value in direction, but you can, again, find someone you trust that can help you on camera.
The interesting thing, right, from what you just said is even if you're doing it DIY, people say, oh my God, shooting video is exhausting. But maybe you take a half a day, right, and shoot 5 or 6 videos in your house so you don't feel like you're doing it, right? So the batching of it may seem overwhelming, but with a little preparation, you could shoot a month's video, a month's worth of videos in 2, 3, 4 hours.
Dude, and I think that's why Tyler really cracked into something with Whitman Wisdom. I don't know how often that was being done beforehand, but the batching of the content, I feel like it just went like gangbusters on the internet. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen like there's a ton of stuff like that now. I feel like maybe Tyler, you might have been one of the innovators of that.
Well,
Great.
There were a few like happy accidents. My thoughts on this are, first, when I was getting into video, I was like, oh, I could do this myself. And I remember with Austin, I bought a camera and a backdrop, and I spent like $500-600 on some DIY equipment, filmed myself, tried to do it by myself, and just setting up a camera and sitting in front of it, having no energy in the room to feed off of, just feeling like an idiot, stumbling over my words, not remembering what I said, none of the above. Finally, like getting one video done in like an hour, and then spending probably 8 or 9 hours watching YouTube videos of how to self-edit and get the audio. And I had even bought like a little microphone so I could record myself. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It looked awful. I was looking all over the place. The lighting was horrible. And I've made videos about this. I think a lot of real estate agents spend a lot of time doing stupid shit that does not help your business. And I felt like that was one of the times I learned that lesson, was trying to figure out how to do this whole thing by myself, and realizing that, like, if you want to make a lot of money and you want to grow a really big business and be an entrepreneur, like, part of that is taking financial risks and investing in yourself. And Tom Ferry talks about it a lot. He's like, you're going to make way more investing in your own business than you are in the stock market in most cases. Like, if you want to 10x your money, invest in yourself. And I've definitely learned that, because I actually looked, you and I met in 2017, and that was when we started doing videos. That was 4 years ago. And I remember spending several $1,000s on videos felt like such a risky. I was not making money. I did not have much money in savings. That was basically what I had to invest. And now I look at, like, 4 years later, it feels like a lifetime ago, but 4 years was not that long ago. And 4 years, like, this past year, my team, right now in 2021, we're over $5 million in GCI, which is amazing. But I'm also spending about $500,000 a year that's what I'm investing in my business now, is like $500,000 a year in marketing and salaries and things like that. And that's of like my own money. And, and now it's like exciting for me because I'm like, it's easy to say I'm spending that much money because of the investment, but it grows exponentially and it gets less and less scary. If you had told me it was going to cost me $500,000 to run a team back then, I never would have taken the first step. I'd be like, okay, well, I was hoping that one day I'd not spend $500,000.
Yeah.
And
Can we repeat that one thing that you just said? Because it really hits home. Investing in yourself is so much more valuable than investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
And I'm only seeing that because I'm seeing a lot of people, like I feel like it's a stock market 1999, which for those of you that can remember that, when Yahoo was going up 800 points a day. I feel like the same thing now with crypto, and I'm seeing a lot of people distracted by crypto and spending their $4,000 or $5,000 in crypto. And I'm like, imagine if you invested that into your business.
Yeah.
I'm just crypto with a 10-foot pole, by the way. I don't know, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's something to be said about like accountability too. Like we've touched on why it's so important to have the right people doing this with you because of the energy that they give and the skills that they bring. But also if you're doing video with like other people and there's a makeup person waiting for you and Corey and like Nate are waiting for you and there's like a sound person waiting for you, like you are going to do your videos. And I think to be honest with yourself about like how you are going to get this done, especially if you are someone who is a little bit, afraid to be in front of the camera or uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. Well, it's no different, right? We force ourselves to buy, the personal training, or when you spend $1,000 a month on a gym. I forgot the gym that you used to belong to, Tyler, or still do. But when you spend that money,
Eric, I was just going to say LeBron James spends $1.5 million a year on his body. Like,
now, once again, we're throwing out big numbers, but it's all relevant, right? If you're not a $5 million person, you're not spending $500,000. If you're a $200,000 person, you're spending $8,000, whatever it is. But it's got to be commensurate, to who you are today. But more importantly, where you want your business to go, right? You're not spending money for today. You're spending money for 2 years from now. It's truly, truly an investment in your business. And if you believe in yourself, you're going to spend it. So. Because that's mindset. A lot of things that we're talking about today it's such mindset. And I was actually going to end on it, but what is this fear? Fear of success? For many people, it is fear of success, fear of failure. But there are things that need to be discussed as it relates to what's stopping you from creating video. There's really nothing, right? Because there's not one person that should not be doing some type of video. Right, because there's all different types of video. You mentioned it earlier, Shelley. During the pandemic, you were giving love, through video interviews to other people out in the industry. What better way to showcase, people that you work with, or even someone in the neighborhood, right? There are so many characters that you could put on camera that are going to make you look good. So, can we talk about that real quick? Different types. You mentioned earlier, like, there's some obnoxious content out there, right? It's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I'm not here to put down, other real estate professionals at all. But there's so many different types of content, whether it's neighborhood content, whether it's testimonials, I just want to get some feedback on, different opinions of different things people have tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what they don't like when they look at other real estate videos. That's a turnoff to you, being within the industry. So, Tyler, talk to me, because you've done a lot of different types of videos.
Yeah, listen, we could talk about starting for people who don't have a budget at all. I stop and watch, and I'm assuming all these people stop and watch. People who are going on, people love seeing inside of New York City real estate, or whatever your market is. People just love seeing inside of real estate. That's why real estate TV shows are so successful. And I'll give a shout out to my friend Jonathan Andrew, who every single time I look at his video, he's showing another new development, and his career is doing really, really well. And the interesting thing is that when I'm watching it, I have no idea if it's a property that he sold, if he's with a buyer, if he's just there by himself checking it out, because nobody cares. I'm just like, oh, that's a sexy building. I forgot about that building. And I'm sure his audience and like friends who are following him, who are not real estate agents, I bet they assume that he's at work showing it. You know, I don't think the average person assumes that he might be previewing. And even as a real estate agent, I don't know, but you know, it's just like he's just going, showing places that he's looking at, taking a few selfies inside of them and posting it. And you know, it looks like his career is doing really well. I don't know if it's all smoke and mirrors, but who cares? The video is doing its job. You know, I think Phil Salem does incredible content. You know, his 3 Things with Agent P series, I think, is really creative and really cool. It's like, I'm not a big fan of people like interviewing, you know, the local butcher. I think those videos are like a little bit, it's the first thing I skip. I'm like, okay. Like whatever, but there's something about the way that he does it. There's so much authenticity behind it that I think is beautiful, and so him, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh,
we shoot those too.
I know you do. You're welcome.
And I love the local butcher because there are no local
Yeah.
butchers left. So how dare you?
I know, and that's the
There's
thing
no
too. Like,
hero, so.
yeah.
I'm just letting
But
you
see,
know.
I like that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's so
Corey,
funny.
what'd you say? You don't, or you do like that?
Oh
kind
no,
of
I love like anytime some real estate agents giving me an inside scoop on a neighborhood and like where to go eat. I'm all about that kind of stuff because I love to go out to new places and like, not that Tyler doesn't, but like that it just seems no one knows like what type of content like people are going to be into. So you might as well just try a couple of different things.
I want to clarify. I'm not saying I don't like that kind of content. I don't like.
Okay. So
I don't like the person who stands out front and is like, "This is my favorite. This is my favorite restaurant."
right.
That's why I was giving Philip Salem a shout out because I think he does.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I think
Totally.
like he goes to like all of these local things and like explores the neighborhood is captivating. You know, it pulls me in. It's
Yeah.
interesting. You know, obviously he has but those are professional videos. He's putting a budget behind it. And you want to talk about somebody who I've watched their career explode through video. It's Philip Salem. I mean, he's crushing it. You know, he does tremendous business and is like super beloved in the industry because he did something different. He's very authentic. He's very unique, and he put himself out there through these well-tailored videos that, you know, really show his brand and who he is. You know, putting out the simple subject matter expert stuff is really interesting. I think property tours are interesting. I think, you know, the commercials for me that, you know, I have to give Hallelujah again the accolades for that because people are like, where did you come up with the concept? I'm like, I didn't. You know, I was like, Hallelujah. I literally showed up. Hallelujah did all of them. But you know, that's the kind of content that's done really well for me. You know, I think my most successful video of all time was the lottery listing video. You know, and that one got a few million views, and I think it's the only thing I've had that got up into the millions. You know, and people just loved it because there was a story. It was funny. It was different. There was real estate porn involved. You know, it kind of like hit all these different things that just did really well on the internet.
Well, the great thing about
Well, and you took a risk on. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, sorry. You took a risk on that script idea, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not like, because we do some weird stuff. You know, Hollywood does like really kind of out there things, but it took you like kind of being like, I trust you enough. I trust your vision. So I would say it's also about curating the thing. Like, you could have said no to any of those things, but you were willing to like really put yourself out there. It's been like, that was kind of incredible too. I'm like, dang, like this is bold. It was really, really bold, you know? And so,
well,
it's so funny.
One of the questions, you know, that people are asking in this video is like, how do you differentiate yourself from other agents to win their business? And for me, I was like, you have to be a risk taker. You have to do things that other people aren't doing, which is like, I think that's the definition of risk. You know, you're trying something new, you're trying something different. And that was when I see your content, of course, I'm like, it's risky, but I'm like, nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is. Now I feel like a lot of people are doing it, you know.
We talk, because we have about 8 minutes left. I just want to give some clarity on personal versus business. You know, people are raising their kids on video. What's Shelly, are you doing any personal video? Are you doing more corporate video, more specific to real estate content? Are you giving people insight into your personal life?
I wouldn't say necessarily my personal life, but definitely like specific situations I have with clients. Like Tyler said, stories I think are really compelling. I'm a big fan of the like sort of like sneak peek into the day of the life of an agent kind of video. I think that actually works pretty well on social media. I think that as agents, we have a career that people are naturally curious about. And I think that when you kind of showcase your job and your passion for your job and your passion for your clients through video, that tends to go over really well. And people are really attracted to that. I mean, this might sound a little depressing, but like, I feel like there's a lot of people who maybe aren't super happy in their jobs and stuff. And when you are able to kind of share with the world, like what you love about your job, that I think goes like a long way. I think that's a really big reason that I've gotten a lot of clients over the past. I think that out of maybe like 20 alumni from my school, like I'm probably one of like 5 people from my class like actually know what I do, right? So yeah, I'm a big fan of just like kind of, showing people what I'm doing for the day and like look at this cool apartment that I've just toured. That's a good way to weave in a little real estate porn as well.
Corey, what's your
Yeah.
opinion on that? Just from a macro level about the whole personal versus business.
I mean, sorry, hold on one second.
No, it's all good.
My dog is kind of freaking out.
All good. This is the
personal
personal side of
versus-
Corey. Let's go.
Yeah. So I make professional videos for a living. I don't often share a lot of video personally. I don't know if it's like why the chef doesn't make all the food at his home. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe that'll change for me. But I think if you're passionate about your business and you talk about it, I'm into it. It could be anything. But if people are like into it and they're telling a story about their day or something like that, I'm like really into that. So yeah, I would say like just start there. Tell
But what
people who you
about
are.
when someone comes to you and says, I want to, a family's a big part of my life, and that's, I want people to know about that. Do you think relevant, not relevant? I mean, obviously, Tyler, you share a lot of personal things, right? From the new puppy to the new puppy,
Yeah.
which I thought we'd see.
I mean, listen.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
I
but
mean,
hey,
I hear that. I think maybe stay away from filming too much of your kids. I'm about to become a father myself, and I don't really look at a lot of other people's baby content. I enjoy it if it's my family, but maybe keep it more on the business side of things. Featuring kids is great, but like don't make it like a huge thing, unless that's what you want to do, obviously. But yeah, the personal thing is kind of a little weird because then for me it feels like a little too much about the person and not the thing. But I don't know. It's a blend and it's a mixture. You kind of gotta figure it out on your own. I
mean, Tyler, obviously you're on TV, so you have a little bit, obviously where your career has taken celebrity. But even before you were, right? I mean, you share a lot of personal, things about yourself. You were very vulnerable early on in your career.
Yeah, and I have mixed feelings about it now on the other side of it.
Why? Why do you have mixed feelings today?
So ultimately, no regrets, right? Like it definitely I put my story out there. People related to it. People cheered me on. People, now it's like personal work involved now is just that like, I don't want to, I feel like maybe I attached too much of my self-worth to this one accomplishment, this one achievement, weight loss, right? Like I became the weight loss person. And now I'm just like, I lost that weight 6 years ago. And while I'm very proud of it, the story is what I did after, what I did with my, hi guys, what I did with, my confidence and my happiness and my motivation. And like, that's what I felt like the story is. And, to this day, my press interviews still revolve around weight loss. And I'm just like, that was 6 years ago. I've done so much more in my life than just weight loss. And, and so there is like a little bit of like, I feel like, am I going to be 70 years old and people are going to be like, so tell me what it was like. And I'm like, I mean, I did a lot in the 50 years that followed, but
But the funny thing is, you might look at that, and I totally hear you, right? You might look at that as a negative. At the same token, right? It moved people, and there was a stickiness to it. So
exactly, it got me out there. I just hope that people see that I've done more with myself than weight loss was a moment, and every single thing that you do in your life is a moment, and there's so many moments that stack upon each other and create this amazing story that everybody has, whether you're in the public eye or not.
So true. And it's funny.
Yeah.
My quick response to that is because people ask me all the time, personal business, and my answer is just be authentic, right? Because if you are in love with your family and they're a big part of your life, and they're your why, right? Your why about why you're in real estate, and people don't appreciate or respect that, then move on to the next client, right? I mean, you are who
Yeah.
you are. So I always say people say, what's the perfect mix? There's no perfect mix. The perfect mix is you being authentic and people being attracted to you because, of you and what you bring to the table. So we have 4 minutes. I have a lot to cover. Let's be super quick, rapid fire. Biggest mistakes to avoid. Corey, biggest mistakes to avoid in getting started with video.
Not having a clear idea of what you want to say, or just getting in front of a camera and say, okay, I'm just going to make a video.
So without thinking about what's the purpose of creating this content.
Yeah, just put a little bit of intention behind it. Yeah.
Okay. Shelly, biggest
I
mistake.
would say biggest mistake to avoid is not doing it at all, or doing it and then not posting it and not figuring out how to get it out to the world.
Right. How many drafts can you possibly have? As I'm sure many of us do. Tyler, biggest mistake. Right. Totally. Good.
Stacking on there, as I would just say, bad lighting. I mean, come on. Oh, sorry about that. But at least be lit.
Okay. There you go. Favorite platform and why?
I've had a lot of success on LinkedIn. I get more engagement, I think, on Instagram and maybe more reach on Instagram, but I love LinkedIn because I think the age range is broader. You reach a lot of people that would maybe never follow you on Instagram, might not even have Instagram. And I think you probably also reach people from more walks of life.
Hugely overlooked platform. I'm so happy you said LinkedIn. Tyler, favorite platform and why?
Instagram, but I should be. It's almost the only platform I really use.
Okay.
And it's been great for me. But that's my goal for the next couple of months. I'm going to be on TikTok. I hear good things about TikTok, and I feel like maybe I should give her a twirl.
I hear all the kids are on the TikTok.
Corey, you have a strong opinion about the platforms in general?
Yeah, I'm a big Instagram fan as well. I follow everything on there. Yeah, I also like YouTube a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, what YouTube underutilized by agents? You feel, Corey?
I don't think so. I think it's just a place to point people to and to store all of your videos so that people can see them. So it's more like archival, but it's a tool for me in my work.
I get a lot of questions also about captions. Why are all these captions on the videos? Corey, from a professional perspective, why is it important to put captions on your videos?
Well, first of all, I think inclusion for everyone is important. So that's the first answer, and I think it should be the only answer. So if the captions annoy you, I'm sorry. Not everyone can hear. But yeah, I think that's the reason. Number one, inclusion. And sometimes if you're like in a public setting and you're on your phone and you don't want people to know that you're watching something on your phone, you can read it. So that's also great.
How about CTA's, calls to action? Have you, Shelly and Tyler, have there been specific calls to action on your video that you've asked from your audience and you've seen a response, or you kind of stay away from that and let it be more organic?
I'm an organic person because I actually feel like I get so in my head when I'm like, let me know in the comments X, Y, and Z, and like nobody comments about it. I'm like, nobody's watching my video. Nobody cares.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah.
Corey, so you're not big on calls to action on ending up on wrapping.
I think it depends if there's a specific ask for something, like let me know if you want to come and see this open house, and we can kind of go through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all my videos just kind of end with contact me if you want to know more.
Yeah.
So I guess in that respect, the call to action's working.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. We have, I guess, another 30 seconds here. If there's one takeaway that you want people to remember from today's session, Tyler, one takeaway.
Just get on camera. I mean, get out of your head and get on camera. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And if you can't get out of your head, and hopefully I'm going to steal Corey's thunder here, so you can't use this one. Ask for help, right? Get that person in the room, that director, whether it's your uncle or your kid, that's going to push you out of your comfort zone to just do it. So get out of your head. Shelly, one big takeaway.
Mine's pretty much the same. Just do it, like the Nike slogan. I think it's totally okay to kind of toe the line between like making yourself comfortable so that you actually do things, but also keep in mind that you always want to be pushing your comfort level too.
Corey?
Yeah, just everything you guys said, and quantity over quality. Just start doing it. The more you do it, the better you'll get.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
No, it's interesting because. No, go ahead, please.
Oh no. Oh, because it's like a ramp, right? The more you do them, the better they're gonna get better. Even if you're doing it on your own, they're just gonna get better.
The quality will come.
Absolutely.
The quality will come.
I love that.
I can't thank Shelly, Corey, and Tyler enough. We're going to end somewhat on time here. I believe in the chat, Emma, our behind the scenes producer and director, thank you, Emma, is going to share in the chat how to best reach us, but we'll say it even verbally. Shelly, if people have questions for you or want to reach out and pick your brain, best way to find you?
My Instagram is at Find Your Place with Shelly. Shelly spelled Shelly, or you can go to findyourplacewithshelly.com.
Love it. Tyler, where do people find you?
Instagram is best, at Tyler Whitman.
Corey?
Yeah, you can find me halleloo.com. It's spelled kind of funny. It's HALLELOO.com. You can find me on Instagram at Corey, COREY_Lauren, LOREN. And if you're into podcasts, I have a podcast with my wife called The Husband and Wife Talk podcast, where we talk business, entrepreneurship, and relationships. Trying to get Tyler Whitman on, maybe Eric Barron, maybe Shelly Place. Looking for some new guests.
I've never gotten a formal invite. Thank you very much. The answer is yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
And if you want to reach me, find me Eric Barron Live at Instagram. So everybody, happy Wednesday. I can't thank you all enough. Thank everybody for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you took away some value, and have an amazing rest of the week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, have a great week.
Thanks so much.